How's it going, guys? Welcome to the channel. You're probably wondering, what am I doing on an 8-foot step ladder next to the playset? Well, just want to share a few things with you guys that I've noticed on this playset 2 years into it. Not really bad stuff per se, but stuff you should probably take an eye out for and look to adjust on your own, because you do not want to hurt your kids. The biggest thing that I've noticed, obviously, with anything is you need to double check your screws to hold all the stuff together. I notice when they're swinging, some of these brackets are getting a little bit loose, and we don't want these to really fall apart. I mean, if you don't want to use an 8-foot step ladder, it's fine. If you're just tall enough to do this, just moral of the story here. This specific one, it's 13 millimeter wrenches. Just get out here and tighten them up. Yeah, they are nylon nuts on these things, and they shouldn't back out so much, but there's a lot of pressure and a lot of different things on these pieces here, and that's the last thing you want, is just to fall apart and your kid just to go bop on the ground, which again, you know, we got rubber mulch down here below it. Last year these were not loose, so this is the first time I've had to tighten them. So just keep an eye out on that. Again, it's probably going to depend on how much you tightened it to begin with, but just keep an eye to make sure these don't back out. Just to get you in a bit closer, there's a bolt here, and on top you've got the nuts. All you need is a couple 13 millimeter pieces, a 13 millimeter socket, 13 millimeter wrench, and you can get these tightened up. Another one I noticed, they're getting kind of loose. You can kind of see here that front face where this attaches to the playset. I wouldn't say it's loose per se, but you're gonna want to snug them up. Again, just give all the main structural pieces here just a quick checkaroo, because again, some of these are probably gonna be a little bit loose as they sit over time. You know, things, that's just how she goes. Again, just to reiterate what was loose on mine, double check these up here where it attaches to the main beam. All the ones that connect the swings were loose. This main one that connects the beam to the Playhouse is loose. And also double check to make sure these ones here inside there that connect this side cross beam to the A-pillar, I guess you would call it, is tight, and these top ones up here. So that's what I had tightened up on mine. Now we're in good looking shape. Let me give you guys an update on the playset, how things are holding together, how the base is working out, how the border is working out. So the base I call is this stuff down here in the bottom, this rubber stuff. And the border, I'm calling the 4x6s in this case, and the stakes I use to hold them in place. So let's take a gander at all that and give you guys my opinion. All right, let's first start with the playset. It's a little windy out, so hopefully you guys can hear me at the lapel mic up here close to me. But let's take a gander at the playset, and I'll show you how it looks after being outside for a couple of years and have a little bit of kids use on it, because this thing gets used pretty heavily at my house. First off, we'll start here on the old rock wall. This is probably the highest traffic area, because this is how you get up into the playset, and it's holding up really well. You'll see that we've got a little bit of wear on the stain, you know, on the cedar and the stain here, but what's not to be expected, it's going to happen over time. Just remember, you can have some of this stuff color matched at your local Sherwin-Williams or a place like that. They can get some color match stain for your cedar. But I think it looks fine right now, so I'm not going to worry about it. Inside here as well, you'll see I had to knock down a few wasp nests up in here, which I got to spray it down, but you can kind of see the leftover from the battle. But again, here where the fire pole comes out, everything's looking really sturdy and good shape. Nothing is splitting or breaking. Up there in the crow's nest, everything's looking good. A little bit of fading on the wood, but what did you expect otherwise? And again, just a little bit of fading here where the kids have a lot of traffic. Down here inside the Playhouse, everything's looking pretty good as well. Again, I have rubber underneath all of this here. The grill's holding together well. There is one thing I do want to show you. The front door always had a problem staying shut. You can kind of see the battle wounds on the hinges. It had a problem staying shut. The magnet just wasn't strong enough to keep the door closed. So I went ahead and, plus the kids kind of like it anyway, I went ahead and added on a little door latch here to keep the door closed when it's really windy. And I actually even rotated this grill around. Originally it was out here, and the kids were on the slide playing, but I moved it to the inside so they can access it better. The slide itself is UV resistant, but it is fading a little bit. I don't think the camera's going to do it a whole lot of justice, but it's kind of more of a bluish green now. You can see here, this is the replacement rings they'd sent me because they, oh, there you go. That's why they sent me replacement rings, because they're doing this such a thing where they are breaking. So I've got a couple extras still in the garage. I'll slap one of those on, but I got a couple of them that appear to be not holding together. So we're going to have to take a look at that and replace those, but that is something that Kids Kraft has been doing a good job replacing on from the warranty. But ultimately, I get it, they're kind of a high stress point. But we have got 2 of those to replace. But you can kind of see what the difference is in the slide is kind of my big thing there. Now, as far as the little tic-tac-toe board up here, it's a completely functional shape. My kids haven't used it a ton just because they haven't quite figured that out. One's 5 and the other one's quite a bit younger. So the little telescope's still in one piece up there. The kids like going out and looking out over all the property. They like to see it all. I think it's pretty neat. Otherwise, a vast majority of this is in really good shape. I don't think there's anything I would be concerned about. The wood over here is a little bit more faded. We had a problem with something climbing up here. It doesn't look as bad now because it's weathered a little bit, but something was climbing up on this. I don't know if it was a cat, a squirrel, a raccoon. It doesn't really matter, but it's scuffed up a little bit and you can kind of see the difference in the color. Overall, I'm not too worried about it. It's not going to rot or go anywhere. So this thing has withstood a derecho in our area of sustained winds of close to 100 miles an hour. It's like 90 or 89 or 90 something in our area, but didn't even budget. It's still here in one spot. So I'd say the overall footprint that you put down on the ground and anchor it to it does a really good job. It's pretty stable. So just something to consider there when you're building this. That's really about all I got for an update on the playset. We did switch out the main monkey bar swing with this little blue little Tikes one, which is a really nice quality for the money. I will put a link down below to some of this different stuff if you'd like to use it yourself. Just keep in mind these links are Amazon affiliate links, and I do get a little bit of commission back from the sale, but it's of no expense to you, and it's a great way to support the channel. The chains here are holding up pretty good. They're a little sun faded as you'd expect, and they have a little bit of cracking and stuff on them from where the kids are twisting them up. We've been adjusting it up a little bit over time as our daughter gets older. She loves the swing. That's her favorite thing. So that's basically it for the playset. To be too generic there, it's not a lot's happened. It's still holding together really well, which you would expect. It's got a pretty good warranty in the system, and you don't want that to have to worry about how long something's going to last when you make this type of investment. Although, you know, I think this is around $1,000 when we bought it. They have a little different styles now that are about the same price, but ultimately the cost is very similar. So let's take a gander at the base and the border. Kind of want to show you what I may do a little bit different if I were to do this again. Overall, it's holding up really well, and I'm extremely happy with the rubber mulch, but the border, well, it's holding up fine, but let me show you. So the actual base of rubber is holding up really good. It still has a nice, really nice color of, we got the brown one, I think that's what it's called, earth tone, something like that. It's holding up really well, even in the high areas where the kids swing a lot underneath all this. We still have that underground fabric, which I'll put links below to the fabric I'm using. We had about 1.5 inches of rain. It's still a little damp underneath all this, but the rubber's completely dry, and that's holding up really well. I haven't had any issues with any of that. What you will get in your mulch, which nothing is 100% maintenance free. You'll get little stuff that wants to sprout and grow, but what's nice about it is this, with this base and the rubber, you just pull it right out, roots and all, and it's gone. So no complaints really here on the rubber itself. I would still highly recommend it. I know it's a little bit more expensive, but I haven't had to add or replace any of it. It's staying inside the play area. I mean, you have to make sure your kids aren't throwing it out into the yard, but that's a whole different situation. It's working out really well, and I'm super happy with doing this approach. That's all I got in the rubber part and the fabric underneath. Let's take a gander here at the outside and maybe what I would have done a little bit different. The outside here, it's been pretty hot out and not a whole lot of rain, and what starts to happen when you don't bury these is you start getting a little bit of where they start to try to warp. You can kind of see where it's picking up off the ground here a little bit, and don't mind the fact that I hadn't trimmed yet here, but the idea is that it doesn't quite, you know, stay on the ground sometimes. It wants to float around. Now these pieces I put inside here, these concrete anchor stakes, are holding up really well. That's not a problem. It's just the fact that it's not moving this way. It's moving this way vertically up and down, which they're still staying nice and straight, so no complaints there. Really the only thing that I've got to do a little different I was going to tell you about, which we'll get to this here in a second, is that where I toe-nailed it all together, or toe-screwed it all together, I guess you would call it, with, you know, cross screws. It's still holding together, but I'm gonna put a different bracket across that, and maybe I'll show you that improvement here in the next video. I think the biggest piece that I would do different is you can kind of see like this situation here where the grass is growing up. Well, the problem is you can pull it out pretty easy. That's not the issue. The issue is this is happening because I didn't get the fabric all the way under the wood. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is I put the border down, I rolled the fabric up to it. You can kind of see down here in the end, let me show you. I put the border down, I rolled the fabric up to it like this to create an edge, and then put mulch on top of it. Well, what's happened is you can kind of see here, the grass and stuff trying to want to grow in below it. So maybe something to consider and do different is to, when you lay this fabric out, pick up that bottom outside retaining piece, the border we've been talking about, and slide the fabric underneath of it, and then stake it in place so you can't get any grass growing up. Doesn't mean it's 100% eliminate it, because crazy things like to grow up, it finds a way to do it. But it would probably be a better practice to do that. I just my 2 cents. That's been the only small thing I've had an issue with. Otherwise, besides that little warping problem, everything else has been just fine. Ooh, weed. See, look, it's gone. Corner here, our little galvanized brackets that we use are still holding up great. All the screws are still in there good, and again, all these little pieces are great. No complaints on the actual plant itself. Just maybe a little bit of improvement can happen there by just sliding that fabric underneath that edge to make sure you give yourself a little extra protection. Super minimal maintenance on this stuff. It's been very, very easy to maintain, which is what I wanted. And I haven't had to add anything yet, so couldn't be more pleased with how this is working out. I would highly recommend this playset or any of these Kids or any of these Kids Kraft playsets for that matter. I know Costco's got a little different setup now on one too. They've got options, so you've got options. But ultimately, it's held together really well. And when I've had problems, they have been very responsive to getting me new pieces out in the mail under warranty. And mainly it's that slide over here. This front slide is in really good shape. I don't know if it's a different type of plastic, but it's not fading as bad. And to be honest, they use them about the same. But ultimately, my 5-year-old likes to swing the best. Well, can't say I blame her. Swings are, I don't know, maybe more fun. I don't know, more control, out of control. So anyway, well guys, that's gonna do it for today. I wanted to give you a quick update. This would be a good time to remind you guys, if you are not already a part of the K6 Outdoors YouTube family, if you guys like outdoor kids projects, tractors, really lawn projects, some indoor stuff, and some product reviews, I'd encourage you guys to hit that subscribe button, and if you hit that little bell next to it, make it turn gray, you'll get notifications when I post more videos like this. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. That really helps me out. Somehow it does something with the YouTube algorithms. Anyway, that'd do me a big solid favor if you guys could do that for me. So hopefully I can learn some of this stuff the hard way so you don't have to, or you can learn with me along the way and make some educated buying decisions for your business or home. Really, nowadays with prices going up as much as they are, it's just best to be as informed as you can and make some very good decisions on your own without having to find out the hard way, which sometimes I do. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This is a quick update on the playset, some stuff to pay attention to, and I'm very happy with what I've done so far. The kids love it, and yeah, I wouldn't know I'd do a whole lot more different, except for like that Geotextile I keep talking about. Again, I'll put links to all the stuff below here that you can access and use yourself. I'd highly recommend this setup, and I will give you an update later on. But I'll keep you in the loop as things progress here. Thanks for stopping into K6 Outdoors. My name is Kyle. Take care of yourself. Until next time, I'll see ya.